What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brendan Balm, and I'm sitting here with Shane, the owner of Smith's Leather Balm, and we're just gonna kind of shoot the breeze, talk about life and business, and hopefully you guys want to stick around and enjoy the conversation. Thanks for hanging out.
Dude, thanks for coming.
Oh yeah. So we're in your new shop.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been in 4 different places with my business, and every time I move, things change. And how many shops have you had? Like, what number shop is this?
I think this is number 4 as well.
Okay.
Yep, number 4 for us. Yep.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because it gives you a refresh. You're able to kind of see, like, take stock of what do I have? Like,
sure.
What am I working with? And every time I move, I get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
But you've been in business for how long?
Since 2017, so 7 years. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
And you've definitely left a mark on the leather community.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And I know that pretty much Smith's Leather Balm is, like, well known. Everybody that is a leather worker that's been around for more than a second has heard of Smith's Leather Balm. And it's really cool to see how, like, in 7 years you took something that I think initially you were just trying to find something holistic that wasn't full of chemicals.
Yeah.
And then you made it into a brand and almost like a lifestyle.
Sure.
And now you've got a business that ships out everywhere, worldwide.
Yeah.
And that's really what everybody wants, is they want a business that people want to buy into and share and stock, and like leather workers stock your stuff. And I just wanted to kind of pick your brain on some things, but also, like, see, like, you know, what's it been like over the last 7 years in building a brand, and, like, has it been extremely hard, or, like, I know it's different for everybody, but how has that process looked for you? And so I guess my first question would be, like, going from just trying to find a formula for something that's not all chemically,
Sure.
to being like, hey, we could do this as a business.
Sure.
Like, that transition, what did that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so when we first began in our infancy, it was a side hustle, very much a side hustle. And I feel like that changes the dynamic in a lot of ways. When you go, all right, I need a full-time job, and you're trying to start a business, and you rely on it to pay 100% of your bills, I mean, your back's against the wall, right? You feel trapped almost in a way, like this has to be successful.
Yeah.
For us in 2017, we were very fortunate that I had a full-time job, and Smith's Leather Balm was a side hustle.
Sure.
So we were sort of able to ease into it. You didn't have that feeling of this has to be successful in a short period of time because it has to pay our bills. So we were very fortunate in that regard. And we were just trying to find a leather conditioner that wasn't petroleum based. Most leather conditioners are petroleum based.
Yeah.
They're flammable, they're combustible. So my wife, Mandy, wanted a product that was safe on your skin, safe to be applied by hand, safe around your kids and pets. And so she came up with our formula. And it really just became a creative outlet for me and her both to build a website, build the Instagram, and it was fun. If we sold any of it, it was fun money. And I can remember in our infancy when we first came to market, it was like, hey, if we sell any of this, you spend the money on whatever you want.
Sure.
And within a short period of time, we were selling 1,000 tins a week from our home kitchen. Wow. And then it sort of changes the game. You're like, hey, could you also pay the mortgage with that money? Like, that would be great, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to point out that in our infancy, when we first brought the product to market, and you mentioned the leatherworking community who's been very friendly to us, but sort of a funny story. I remember when I first started the brand, and we started Smith's Leather Balm, and we had just nailed down the packaging. I was having a coffee with a friend of mine. We were in downtown Portsmouth, and there are people going everywhere, and it's such a buzz and a great energy in that downtown. And I told him, what I need is a brochure, like a color brochure that explains who we are and what our product does, and maybe a tri-fold. And he's like, okay, well, you know, what do you think that would cost? And I said, well, even if it cost $50, cents or so. We're watching people go by. I could be giving one to every person.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, he's like, well, what does a tin of your product cost you? And at the time, it was like a little under $1, maybe $1.
Sure.
And his challenge to me was, why would you hand 100 strangers a brochure telling them how great your product is at 50 cents a brochure when you could just hand them a tin of your product and send them on their way? And so we started doing that. I made an Instagram post not long after that just said, if you're a leather worker and you've never tried this, I want to ship you a tin. You pay shipping and I'll send you a tin. And we had hundreds of people that were like, hey, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And truthfully, we were just soliciting feedback because we thought the formula worked well. It's organic beeswax, organic cocoa butter, pure sweet almond oil. We tried it on leather and it worked great, but who better to vet the product than leather workers?
Yeah.
So we were genuinely, when we sent it out, it was very much if you think we can make improvements, please send us the good, bad, the ugly, tell us what your thoughts are. Sometimes someone will offer you a product and it's like, hey, I'll send you this in exchange for a 5-star review, or it's like wink, wink.
Yeah.
With us, it was genuinely, if you think this stuff's garbage, let us know, because we don't want to go to product with a market that is garbage or that is inferior to what's already on the market. Why would I waste all the time and energy if someone goes, oh, this is just like mink oil, only mink oil works better, or this is just like this product which is already available on the market? Like, I think we would have shut it down, right? It wouldn't have really made any sense. But the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. People liked the consistency, and I was sort of pushing them for feedback. Should it be a little thinner? Should it be a little thicker? There's no fragrance, so it smells like a faint cocoa smell because there's organic cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Is that off-putting, or should I, switch the formula? And people, was overwhelmingly positive. They liked the consistency. The smell is very faint, and it doesn't mask or hide that great smell of leather, which I think if you have a nice leather bag or product, you enjoy the smell of leather, right? You don't want to put something on it that smells like pine, or, does that make sense? So yeah, huge thank you to the leatherworking community. There's just absolutely no way that we would be where we are today as a brand or as a product if it hadn't been for the overwhelming support. And I will always remain grateful to our early OG partners, as I call them, the guys who they were turning wallets in their den, in their bonus room, in their garage. It's like our product is available in more than 300 retailers now, but it was genuinely born in garages and basements from guys who are crafting stuff by hand. It's their side hustle. And so I will remain forever indebted to you, and I thank you for your help and support along the way. So,
yeah, that's amazing. And it is really the customers that build a company.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I want to touch on building a brand next, but really building a brand is having loyal customers that actually enjoy your product. They share it as well with their friends and family, like word of mouth.
Yeah.
And ultimately, by people seeing it all over the internet in photos with leather products, then other people are like, oh, I want to try that.
Sure.
And so they try it too. And so the customers are the key to building a brand.
100%.
And I think your brand is really cool because, one, it says all natural. It has your last name on it.
Yep.
And it says Leather Balm right on the bottom. And I think you did switch it to Smith's All Natural at one point, right?
Yeah, so we could talk about that. When we first designed our logo, we had a catch line or a phrase that we used that was called restore and protect. And the idea is that you would restore worn leather and you would protect it from future scuffs and scratches. And so because all those elements were competing for space on the top of our label, it just said Smith's Leather Balm, restore and protect. And that's what it read on the top label. And it is an all natural product, but you wouldn't have known that unless you looked on the bottom of the label.
Sure.
And so I was restocking Red's Shoe Barn. Shout out to my friends at Red's Shoe Barn. I worked there all through high school and college selling shoes and boots, and have sold thousands of pairs of shoes there, and those people are near and dear to my heart. But I was there restocking them, and here's this tin of product, and it says Smith's Leather Balm, restore and protect. And I watched the guy pick it up, and he looked at the bottom and he read the ingredients, and he said to his wife, oh, look, it's all natural. And I thought to myself, that should really be on the top of the label. So we removed, we took restore and protect, we took the tagline off of the top and put all natural there. But you make a great point. It's the customers who not only build and grow your business, but in that moment, it was a customer who provided the most valuable piece of feedback that I had received at the time, unknowingly. Like, he doesn't know that I'm the guy who makes it. I didn't introduce myself. He just made that piece of feedback, and I was like, oh, here's a customer experience, and they don't realize that it's an all-natural product until they've done the research or the reading. And so, that was a great moment for us. It was really cool.
Yeah, and ultimately, people know you as Smith's Leather Balm, and that's how you've built the brand. But you obviously now make some other products.
Yep.
Like, did switching to Smith's All Natural help kind of cover all of those bases?
Yeah, it helped a little bit, and so that I think that would probably be it's a valuable lesson to would-be business owners and startups and entrepreneurs. Don't have such a narrow focus in your infancy that you miss the greater opportunity. Because for us, when we came to market, we really thought the business was a leather conditioner and strictly a leather conditioner.
Sure.
So to name it Smith's Leather Balm made sense, right? Mm-hmm. But I gave it a name that is the name of a product, not the name of a brand.
Right.
So to make an LLC and call it Smith's Leather Balm, very nearsighted, very narrow focus, and it didn't really give us much room for growth potential. Yeah. And so when COVID happened and people were using less leather conditioner and they're not really restoring boots and we're all sort of in quarantine and we can't get out of the house, we saw an uptick in the number of people who are washing their hands. Nurses, people in healthcare, they're washing their hands and they're getting dried out. And so then for us, it was a pivot as we're looking at the ingredients that we have. Well, we have cocoa butter, which is used almost exclusively in skincare, high-end skincare products. So like we have organic cocoa butter, we have pure sweet almond oil. We're looking at this cabinet and closet full of ingredients going, what else could we make with it? Yeah. That's more appropriate at the time. So you have to pivot and adapt, I think, at times. I was a guy selling leather conditioner and boot conditioner at a time when the world didn't need it as much as it needed a skincare product, if that makes sense. So the parent company now is called Smith's All Natural, and under that umbrella we have a number of different products, our hand and body balm, our beard care, things like that. But yeah, let that be a lesson to new entrepreneurs and startups that don't have such a narrow focus initially, maybe that you miss the opportunity for expansion or growth. I think that'd be the primary takeaway. Yeah, that'd be good.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, I mean, when I started in business, my business was called Made Candles. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dang it. I literally put myself in a corner and pigeonholed myself to only being candles. Right. And then I started making other stuff, and I was like, how do I encapsulate literally everything that I want to do? Because it's not just candles anymore. And so I had already started my podcast called All American Maker. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I could just change the name to that. And literally, the word all is in there. It covers everything. Yep, sure. I love it, yeah. And that was a big mistake I made in the beginning for like 4 years. It was called Made Candles, but then I'd try to make anything else, and putting the name Made Candles on there was dumb because it was like, well, this isn't a candle. Didn't make sense, yeah. Yep. I think you see a lot of small business owners do that. You know, initially when you come to a market, you have such a narrow focus and a hyper focus, and potentially you miss the greater vision of what it could be or grow into. So I think that's a valuable takeaway. Give yourself room for expansion and development as you launch. I think that's smart. It's a good takeaway for sure. Yeah, and if you make that mistake, it's okay to change. Sure. Like, people will adapt with the brand, and people are going to continue to be consistently supporting your company, no matter whether it's Smith's Leather Balm or Smith's All Natural. Right, sure. Like, it's the same product, just under a different umbrella. Sure, exactly, yeah, I agree. So where do you see Smith's going from here? Like, you've got several different products that you offer, and like, you've got the leather balm that is now being carried in over 200 different retail locations. Yeah. Whether it's online or in person. Like, do you want to see the brand expand and grow and develop into something else, or do you just want it to be more widely known? That's a great question. It's funny, every time you say the word brand, it makes me like, I chuckle a little bit on the inside, because I think we created it on accident. It still doesn't feel like a brand. You know what I mean? So for people to recognize it or acknowledge it as a brand, and we make hats periodically and shirts, and you've been kind enough to make candles for us and things like that. And it's like, I guess it has evolved and grown into a brand. It doesn't
feel like it. It still kind of feels like an art form where where I'm just making things that people can use. And so to call it a brand, I get it, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like a brand. It feels like a painter or someone who does artwork or a leather crafter. They're putting their heart and soul into something. They're making it day in, day out. They're sending it into the universe. Is it a brand? I guess it probably is. It doesn't feel like it to me.
Yeah.
So to view it through that lens has been a challenge that I've had. Like, what is the future for the brand? We've very much over the last 3 years as we grow have just been in a state of just try to maintain what we have. So it hasn't been a focus on like growth or research and development. You know, when we first started, it was, what else could we make? How could we build this? How could we grow it? We try to be sensitive to what our customers are asking for.
Sure.
And our beard balm is a perfect example of that. We had no interest in creating beard balm. We're Smith's Leather Balm. We make boot cleaner, leather conditioner, and the number of guys that would send messages and be like, bro, I put Smith's Leather Balm in my beard and my skin feels amazing. And like after 24 people tell you that, you go, okay, like maybe we should, maybe we should make beard balm. So, you know, we modify the ratios slightly. There's a little more cocoa butter in it. There's a little less beeswax, and we go, okay. And so the brand adapts. And then I explained earlier, and COVID happened, and you know, like people are washing their hands more frequently, and cocoa butter is great at rehydrating skin. So we're like, hey, maybe it's hand and body balm. But I think it's important as we build and grow as entrepreneurs and makers to build and develop and spend the time and energy formulating and building what your customers have asked for, not what you can sell people.
Right.
So we've never looked at it from a lens or perspective of what can we sell people, what can we get people to buy. It's been more, what are people asking for, what would be useful, what are the products we wish we had in our own home, and how does that translate and relate to the market. And if I'm being completely honest, there are times where you find something and you go, this would be really useful, I think the world needs it, people are asking for it. And truthfully, it's actually not a great business idea because the margins aren't there. You know what I mean? You go, this would be really useful and this would be great to have, but when you're making it at such a small scale and small batches and it's hand poured and you're sourcing only the highest quality ingredients, you're not making a fortune on it. No. You know what I mean? So like that's been a challenge, and that's how I would challenge a lot of new young entrepreneurs and business owners is when you get involved in a passion project and you're doing something because you care about the products and the ingredients and what's on the label and transparency, it doesn't always translate to a lot of zeros in the bank account. It's actually much the opposite at times, you know, which I think you found to be true. And you want to do something that makes a difference and has an impact, but it doesn't always translate to an increase in sales, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, like when I had my store, I probably had 5 different guys come in and they're like, hey, do you make mustache wax? And I was like, no, I mean, I probably could. I have all the ingredients, but I haven't had the time to make it. And I've literally never had a single person after that ever ask me.
Yeah.
So like if I had dove into that and made it and, you know, made it with a different scent or unscented or whatever, like I'd be sitting on a ton of product because literally only 5 guys ever asked me for it.
Sure.
And I doubt that they would have ever actually come back to get it.
Don't you? I think every small business owner and entrepreneur and maker crafter has experienced this guy at the farmer's market who offers unsolicited businesses of advice after 10 seconds of learning about your business. Yep. And it always begins this way. You know what you should do? Yeah. And this guy has known your business for 10 seconds. He's taken it in. Suddenly, he's an expert in your field. And not to pick on anyone who's like that, but I always chuckle a little bit whenever an unsolicited piece of business advice begins. You know what you should do. Like this person is going to just speak wisdom and they go, you should do this. And that's not to say that at times it's not followed by a valuable piece of information. Sometimes it is. But I bristle against the guy that goes, I would buy this if it were this or if it were that. And he doesn't realize that he's the exception. And not everyone is hunting that thing that he's looking for. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you have to be careful about those pieces of advice. But, yeah, you just kind of have to shrug it off. It's funny.
Yeah, starting and growing a business comes with a lot of growing pains, and you'll learn a lot of valuable lessons that might cost you $1 or they might cost you $10,000.
Right.
But ultimately, like if you stick it out long enough, you'll actually get to the point where it makes sense, it works. You might add 1 million things, and then take away 1 million things, and actually narrow down your focus to what actually works.
Sure.
I've been doing this for almost 9 years, and I've been doing private label stuff for maybe 8. And really, it was only this year where, starting January 1, I went all in. I dove in the deep end, and it's been taking off. But prior to this year, I focused on so many different things. It was like the shotgun effect. Or if you're making pasta as an Italian and you're like, let's throw it against the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
Except nothing stuck.
Yeah.
And it's like you try all these different things and they cost you money. And then ultimately you land on something, whether it's on purpose or by accident, that actually works. And you need to recognize when that happens, hey, maybe I should focus on that. And that's kind of where I'm at. And, sometimes you go through seasons where things thin out. Like I've had really bad seasons, like during COVID, where I was like, am I even going to be in business after this?
Yeah.
And then shortly after COVID, when everybody was stuck at home, and I mean shortly after COVID, I mean shortly after it became a big thing, and then everybody was stuck at home for a year. And they were buying a lot of stuff online, and my business literally quadrupled.
Wow.
But then after that, everybody went back to work, and my sales did a nosedive, and I was like, well, now what do I do?
Sure.
And so you just kind of have to constantly change and adapt and figure out, okay, for this season, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yep.
And I've figured out that duing shows and events and vendor shows and things, those have their seasons too. The fall is a really big time for that.
Sure.
During the summer with a wax-based product, not the best
Not
plan.
so much. Right. Sure.
Because people would open up Beard Balm and literally it would pour out liquid.
Yeah.
So I did one show last summer, and that was the last show I've ever done, I'll ever do during the summer ever again. And ultimately it freed things up for me where I was like, hey, I can focus on other stuff then.
Sure.
But it's kind of cool when you're growing a business to look back, hindsight 2020, which has a whole new meaning now, where you're like, hey, this works, this doesn't. I learned a lot from that experience, good or bad, and moving forward, this is where I'm going to be going. And it's kind of cool to see your new shop, see what you're doing with the place.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what you do with the brand in the future.
Sure.
I think you should add some apparel and really go hard on growing the brand.
Sure.
It's a great example, hold fast, live slow. Earlier you were explaining to me a little bit more in depth that what you shared with a young woman that came into your shop about that whole saying.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to share that in a second, of having the slogan of hold fast, live slow. That's something that people can jump on and literally attach on.
Sure.
And make it a part of their life.
Yeah.
So can you just kind of share that story that you shared?
Yeah. Before I do that, you said something that I think is really profound, and if there's a takeaway that's valuable to any of the listeners, I hope this is it. But you chose the word seasons, and I don't think there could be a more appropriate word for not only how life passes us by, but the growth of our businesses.
Sure.
Is that they pass in seasons. We were adolescents once. We were children. When I was a child, I spake as a child, and then we were adolescents, and then we were young people, and we went through, maybe in our 20s, we thought we knew everything, and then we get a little older, and we realize we didn't know everything. And it's the seasons of my life have been so wildly different at times. I feel like I've remained the same, and I go, well, what's changed? Gosh, everything's changed. I feel like I've been in the same place or wanted to be, but our lives really do pass us by in seasons, and there are times of where this will be effective and that won't be effective, and we shouldn't expect our businesses to operate any different. So I'm so glad you said that. For us to have, if you experience success in year one, I think one of the biggest mistakes that you can make is to go, this is my business, this is how it works, this is how it operates, and it is how it will always function and operate.
Right.
This is what we're doing in volume, this is what we're doing in revenue, this is what my customers are responding to, because 3 years from that point, the world's a different place, your customer is a different customer, their needs are different, technology has advanced and grown, so...
Like TikTok didn't exist when we started our businesses.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And like there are people that literally their entire livelihood is suspended and dependent on TikTok. Yeah. And when there was the possibility of banning that, they were like, my whole livelihood, my life could go up in flames.
Sure. Yep.
And so like being adaptable is a key feature in running a business, because you can't be just dependent on one platform, one system, one way of doing things. Yeah.
One of my closest friends is a very successful fisherman, and he has a charter boat, and he takes people out, and he's one of the most successful fishermen, and I just want to pick his brain, and why is it? He's like, well, I studied the tide charts. I know when they're eating, where they're eating. He does the research. He puts in the time. He's like, I can't go cast my nets and fish and like, oh, I like this spot and this is when it fits into my time. I get out of work at 5, so I go at 5:30. No, it's based on when are the fish eating and where are they eating and what are they eating and are the stripers moving in or have they gone south? He's like, there's so much research and time and energy that goes into it. A good fisherman doesn't just go, hey, there's a body of water, I'm going to cast a line and maybe I'll get lucky. Right. Like a good fisherman goes, I know they're eating at this time, they're going to move through at this depth, here's what they like, here's what I'm going to use for bait, here's what I'm going to use for lures. You know, like there's so much research that goes into it. And I think as small business owners, to think that you're just going to happen upon a product, send it out into the universe and people are going to respond to it and you're going to get rich. It's like, it's actually a lot of work that goes into the research and the analysis and like looping back to just to kind of summarize and finalize, but seasons. You know, you're going to experience seasons of rapid growth and success. You're going to experience seasons of hardship. Nobody wants to talk about this on the front end, but you're going to have a dip in sales. You're going to have one of my favorite songwriters has a song, and he says that his dad told him, the faces you see on the way up are the same faces you see on the way back down. And it's just a reminder to have a dose of humility, that on your way up, on your way to success and fame, the people that you meet and the faces that you see on the way up are these same exact people that you'll potentially see on the way back down. So have a dose of humility, right? And that has just spoke volumes to me and something I've tried to incorporate. But yeah, you're going to go through seasons of hardship, seasons of tremendous growth. And it's about how do you adapt. And it's been said that in order to be a small business owner, you've got to be a little insane. I think people might look at you and go, you know, during that COVID and during that challenge, would most people have thrown in the towel and said, I'm just going to go get a job at Lowe's? And, you know, maybe most people would have done that. Some people might have done that. But to have that perseverance and have that ambition and that stick-to-itiveness, and I just refuse to quit. It's like it's in our DNA as creators and makers and entrepreneurs, and you know, your back's to the wall and you just don't know how to say quit, maybe to a fault sometimes, maybe when we actually should. If we just are too stubborn or refuse to, you know what I mean? But I feel like that's a good quality. Maybe it's the best and worst things about us, but that definitely resonates with me when you say that, so yeah.
Yeah, Pete, who owns Origin here in Maine as well.
Yeah, I know Pete.
He's like, like any good business, it takes at least 10 years for it to actually finally develop into what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And he's like, I've got a 100-year plan. Yeah. That doesn't include me at the end.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
He's my kids have caught on to the vision and they're going to college for like literally developing cloth and different aspects of the business that are going to be incorporated into the business when I'm dead.
Sure. Yep.
He's like, you got to look at it as a long-term thing. And there's so many different people out there that are like, how do I become an overnight success? And it's like, with 10 years of work. Yeah. You know, like, I'm an overnight success after 10 years.
Yeah, this generation wants like a cheat code. Like that's even become a, you know, what's the cheat code? What's the shortcut? And everyone that I found that has experienced success on any level would tell you it's just a lot of hard work. you know. But I would couple that with a phrase that Pete has in Farmington in their facility there, and I don't know if the banner hangs there anymore, but the last time I visited, he just has this giant banner that says, "We get to do this."
Yeah.
And it's such a great reminder that, like, we could be punching a time clock, we could be in a toll booth, we could be doing any number of things, but the fact that you get to put your hands to work, there is an end product, a deliverable, potentially at origin an heirloom quality piece that will outlive you, that your kids will fight over when you're dead. It's like there's a satisfaction that comes in that, you know. And so the reminder is that even on the hard days when it's a grind and you're up early, and I know Pete is and Jocko, they're up early and they're making sweat angels, and it's sit-ups and it's exercise and everything else. It's the hard stuff, but at the end of the day, it's a good reminder that we get to do this. Like, it's a privilege to be able to do this, you know, and make a contribution to not only society but to the world, to build something and make something. The amount of pride that I have just in a tin that says our family's name on it, and I have 2 young boys who help with our brand, and I maybe stressed it or made too much of an issue, but when they were younger, and it's like we're throwing labels on and we're not really paying close attention to whether or not they're straight or square. I had this teaching moment where I'm like, that's your name. You know, and your name is all you have in life. Your word, your name, your character, what's going to be said of you. That you didn't care, that you rushed through this, that your hands were tired, that you wanted to go play outside or play Xbox with your friends, so you rushed through this and did sort of a half job, you know, or that you took the time, that you gave it the attention and the care that it needed, because ultimately it's our name that is on every single thing that we send out. And if we have a brand, it is our name. You know, we've had brick and mortar, we've had a retail storefront that didn't work out. But our brand truly is the name that we put on the goods we create, right? And so we're only as good as that. So that was just a neat reminder. But yeah, Pete, what he's doing for American manufacturing is huge. Super excited for you to have partnered with them, and it's just a great opportunity. So he's doing great things for Maine and great things for our country, and I love him. He's a great dude.
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of tie into the hold fast, live slow slogan, like when we go through seasons, it's not about how fast can I get to the final destination, right. and like nothing is an overnight success.
Yep.
And everything is about family.
Yep.
So, like, can you share that story that you shared with that young woman that came in, and I think you said it literally brought her almost to tears.
Yeah, every now and then we'll have, so our slogan is hold fast, live slow, and I'll explain what it means, but periodically we'll have a customer come through and they go, what does that mean? Like, because you read it and it's hold fast, live slow, and the paradox and the juxtaposition of to hold fast and live slow. It's like, what does it mean? And it probably means something different to everyone. Sure. And that's fine. That's how artwork is. That's how anyone can read it and interpret it as it applies to them. For us, you know, my grandfather was a sailor and he had a tattoo on his forearm of an anchor, and it said hold fast, which is an old sailing term to cling to. And so the idea of hold fast, live slow for me is to hold fast and cling to the people, the places, and the pastimes, the things that you like to do. So whether that's, of course, your children, your family in New England, maybe it's hiking, maybe it's surfing, it's the outdoors, it's the ocean. Find the things in life that are most important to you, the people you want to surround yourself with, the places you want to be, and the activities you enjoy. And when you're fortunate enough to find yourself in those moments with those people, doing those things, don't let it escape you or rush through it, because as a society, we're so anxious to get to the next thing that you forget the opportunity, or just cherish and treasure the moment that you're fortunate enough where all those things align, where you're in that place with the people I love most, doing the things I love most, and the places I love most. Whether it's a hike across Maine, surfing along the coast, you've got your kids with you, it's like, just be present and enjoy, because life does pass. And I don't want to get into it, but I've had a number of health challenges, and it's really taught me that the most valuable currency we have is time. Right, and how we're going to spend
right
it
now.
Right now, yeah. No one's guaranteed tomorrow. the most valuable currency we have is time, and it's how are you going to spend it? And are you going to rush on to the next thing? Are you going to be present? And it ties into our brand in a really neat way, because the idea of heirloom quality goods, people who are handcrafting leather products that will outlive us, backpacks, leather bags that our kids will fight over when we're dead and gone, and to have and make a product that takes worn leather goods. One of my dearest friends, I was on the phone with him earlier today. He and his sister and their siblings lost their mom tragically when they were younger, and they have a leather pair of boots that belonged to her. And so we were able to restore them and bring that leather back to life. And like, just the idea of breathing new life into something and maintaining it in such a way that it will be given and passed on to generations is like, I think it's an idea that maybe doesn't exist among Gen Z as much as it did among our generation. We're very much a disposable generation. It's difficult to find a cobbler or someone who will repair a pair of leather shoes or boots, only because shoes are manufactured in such a way that when you're through with them, they're intended to be thrown into a landfill, or no one really thinking about resoling. Some people are, I shouldn't say no one is, but very few people are thinking about how to resole these boots. Can I extend new life into them? Do they have any more? So yeah, that's sort of where our slogan meets this lifestyle and this culture of having heirloom quality goods, taking care of them, and just being present. So yeah, that's kind of how it all ties in.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thanks for having me here and visiting.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's been a lot of fun just to hang out too. And if you guys want to check out more about Smith's All Natural and Smith's Leather Balm, I'm going to link all of his stuff below this video. And if you're listening on the podcast, go check out smithsallnatural.com. Is that correct?
It is, yeah.
And also go follow him on Instagram and anywhere that they're on social media.
Yeah, perfect.
And I hope you guys have a fantastic day.
Thanks.